Yo, CRUZ Performance, Don Cruz here. Last week we did a video with the 4 ECUs that Holley offers to go ahead and have with the CRUZ Originator harness. As it turns out, we got a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions, which is good. I'm glad we get a lot of questions. But that also means that we have unanswered questions that I'd kind of like to address today, at least a couple of them anyway. I always want to encourage you to call me direct to ask me the questions that you're asking because it's important. I want to make sure you get the right answer, not an answer you get off the internet or not an answer you get off another vendor or whatever the case may be. I mean, we have a really good pulse of what's happening with the Holley stuff, in particular our Holley kits, okay? So, like we went over, pretty simple, Terminator X, Terminator X Max, HP, Dominator, okay? A little bit of the questioning was, can the X run factory fans? Yes, absolutely. HP, of course, Dominator can. They can all run factory fans. That's not an issue. We prefer to have dual fans. I'm sure if you realize you'd prefer to have dual fans also. But definitely the X can control the factory fans. No issues whatsoever. There was some questions about the inputs and the outputs. That's easy too, or a simple way to look at it. You got 4 inputs, 4 outputs with these 3 here, and then we call this unlimited, right? Well, the difference between the inputs and the outputs is pretty simple. Inputs, think of it this way. You're going to read. You want to read transmission temperature. You want to read transmission pressure. You want to read coolant pressure. Anything you want to read, think of it as an input. An output is a trigger. Think of anything you want to turn on or off. Very simply, that's what that is. So for most cases, the majority of them out there are just using outputs for the fans, okay? We do have some, of course, where we're making your boost controllers. We need them for your boost controllers and so on. But that's where the outputs will be put. Okay, so I think that was the biggest thing with the ECUs. But then that just created a whole whirlwind of other questions. Why do we need shielded cable? Why do we make it this way? Power direct to the battery, all of those things. So 10 years now, we've been making this wiring harness. Going back 10 years ago, I really relied on the people at Holley, the engineers at Holley, our sales rep at Holley. We had a big thing to do with how to set up this wiring harness. And when it was all said and done, all we did was do everything that Holley was doing. We did the same wire colors. We did the same connectors. We did the same loom. We did the same shielded cable. We did everything. So if you have an issue somewhere down the road that may or may not be related to a wiring problem, you can go to any connector on any help section in Holley and you'll know between the color and the space where it's at. We do it identical to. We do laser engraving on all your connectors, so you're not going to have to worry about what it is. Some of you guys are worried about what the connections go to and so on. Don't worry about it. It's laser engraved. It's we'll go over it with you if you can't figure it out. But here's the deal, right? Shielded cable on the crank. This is a Holley harness. This is a factory Holley harness, right? Shielded cable on the cam. Shielded cable on the crank. In addition to, they got foil on it, on top of it all, more. Doesn't matter what kind of sensor it is. Our opinions on what sensors they are, whether they're Hall effect or stock or whatever, our opinions don't matter. Let's go by what the manufacturer has, right? Here we go here. But this was the biggest one that some guys picked up on, right? Let me find it here. The wideband. Well, wideband is crucial also. Great, sorry. That was good. Wideband, shielded cable. Why do we want shielded cable on our wideband? Man, the wideband is reading everything that Holley is giving back to the ECU. It's making all your adjustments based off your wideband, your AFR that it's reading, okay? So of course we want shielded cable on the wideband too. Holley cable, shielded Holley harness, harness, shielded cable on a wideband, shielded cable on the cam, shielded cable on the crank. CRUZ Originator harness, shielded cable on the wideband, shielded cable on the cam. Laser engraved, by the way. Look at that. You can get that one confused? I don't think so. I think you're good. Shielded cable on the crank. Okay? Then the next one was Well, the power wire. How's the power wire run? Well, power wire is run from the ECU through the sealed loom, through the factory grommet that's sealed, out to our power distribution box, over to the battery. That's fused. It is fused, so that way there's no issues with it going anywhere, okay? Right, see it built right in, going right to it. Now, the guys that have a trunk battery, we custom make the harness for it to go into the trunk. So that way, you know, it don't have to go through here when it's in a trunk battery. But if you do have a battery up front, you certainly want to run it through there. And then another big question was, this one surprised me a little bit. I don't know why, it always seems to, but this one surprised me a little bit. AC. Why do we have an option for AC? Well, quite simply, there's a lot of Buicks out there with no AC, no factory AC. There's a lot of guys removing the factory AC and going to the under dash units, the real nice units, okay? In that case, we make what's called a dual grommet system. We're not gonna make you keep this and run the wires up over the cowl panel when you remove your big box and all that, and all those ugly wires and all that stuff in there. We're not gonna say just don't plug it in. No, we're gonna make you a custom harness, which we do. We've made a ton of them. So it'll be a custom harness that'll eliminate the AC, or if you got the under dash AC, okay? So no need to have extra wires or anything like that. That's why we offer the AC. I don't know an exact number on how many don't have AC, but it's quite a few. You'd be surprised, it's quite a few. So I just wanted to hit a couple of the hot topics of a lot of questions, a lot of texts, few sales too, few sales from it, which is important because I can't do this without sales. Thank you very much. But with, you know, we want to make sure that I'm giving proper information. We followed Holley's guidelines. The manufacturer is Holley. They engineered it for a reason that way. It's modern technology. It's today's technology. Any more questions, just reach out again. But here you are right here, CRUZ Performance, 10 years, the originator of Turbo Buick, Holley harness. Reach out to us, let us know. Thank you. Bye-bye.